One of the things I mentioned is that we look at the OVT, or we plant the OVT across 9 locations in North Carolina. Of those 9 locations, over 2/3 are private grower ground. It's important to us as an OVT program to have this test on private grower ground because it gives us an opportunity to show those growers one-on-one how hybrids are performing in their region and their environment. They have an idea what the value of the OVT data is. Here at Sampson County, we're on Jay Sullivan and Sons Farms. I got Jay and Jarman Sullivan and Jarman's son, William. I want to talk to them about what they feel about how they look at the OVTs that we plant out here. We've actually been on Jay and Jarman's fields for a long time with soybeans, haven't we? 4 or 5 years. This is the first year we've had corn on their ground. We did that because we wanted to try to consolidate where our locations were and give us some good consistency of looking at fields year after year, and also give you all some sickle plot pressure that we brought with you. How do you all feel about OVTs? How do you view OVTs as they're planted on your farm?
The OVTs are the first line that we look at when we're trying to pick a variety. Whether, as y'all arguing back and forth, whether it's just yield driven, or whether it's stature of the corn, or whether it's some type of disease rating, we can see it, and we can see it on our own. I tell everybody the mantra of this farm is like Mahatma Gandhi's quote: you're supposed to live life as if you're going to die tomorrow, but you've got to learn as if you're going to live forever. And for us, that's a big part of the value of this. We can come out here and see y'all working during the course of the season. We can take a look at the crop from start to finish. It gives us a lot of things to think about over the winter when we're picking varieties.
Well, and that's important for us because there's times where, as an OVT director, we feel like we plant these tests in a off-the-site location that nobody knows about. And so you look at data, but you don't get a chance to see how that data was realized or what went into planting and everything else. I know when we were out here planting, Jay came out soon after emergence, and you said something to me about emergence. You said, what are you using in your planting system?
Well, I wanted to compare back what you were doing with your system compared to what we do and what your dad, Dr. Heiniger, does in his, to see if it's real time and real term stuff of what's going on in our area. I like to come out and see when the corn emerges. You know, you see different emergence rates among the different varieties. That becomes really important. A year like this one, it was ultra important with the cold conditions that some of it went in, and the early moisture that we had. So I like to be able to know what we're looking at. All those play into our decision-making process.
Well, we're not the only ones that have tests on private grower ground. Dad, you've got a lot of tests that you put on private grower ground as well. What is the value of that interaction to you?
Well, it's a huge value. First of all, you get real-world conditions. You know, what is the soil type? What is the nutrient content? What are the environmental conditions, so that you can test out some of these things. For instance, Jay mentioned the early emergence here in this OVT. That's a result of what we learned, in fact, on trials here on Jay's farm 2-3 years ago, where we looked at the impact of starter fertilizers. So indeed, being on grower farms is essential to our success in both research as well as information here.
And it's really an underpinning for our extension efforts. Having that grower face-to-face opportunity for us on Dad's side, on my side, on the grower side, is really important to build that trust of data that we're sending out and to build those new ideas that we can start looking at for furthering that yield potential. So I encourage you, if you're a grower watching this video and you haven't had an OVT test on your ground, or you haven't had Dr. Heiniger's high yielding corn test on your ground, come find us, talk to your extension agent, ask them to see if we can get some of those tests out there with you.
Yeah, be prepared to suffer. You know, we're making these guys suffer here by putting them on camera and making them help us. But it is helpful. You know, yes, it's a pain, but it is at the end, I think, a lot of information.